But you know what I was looking for? I was looking for that song we did in college, yo.
Which one? We did two. We cut two joints.
I was looking for the effing on the dance floor. My thing is, if we play the song for the lady we got for tonight, we may get signed, man. We may have J. Cole on it. You know what I mean? Maybe we could bump up our price.
The crazy thing about it is you keep saying may. Yeah, I'll play that. I'm buying a Bentley tomorrow. That is an automatic sign.
Pharaoh.
Yeah, this is that. Yeah, young Pira Overdilla, behind the mic like the will of a vehicular killer.
What's up, everybody? You are now tuned in to the Chop Up. I'm your boy Yawa Santa here with my good brother Bobby, and we are bringing you another exclusive interview. I think some of the conversations that we had, we were talking about staying true to yourself, and also talking about, you know, knowing when you can use your hobbies and make them your future goals, and kind of just capitalizing off of things that you have a huge interest in. So I think we got a really cool guest that's going to possibly highlight some of her background, highlight some of the experiences and things that led her to the position where she's at right now. You know, me being from Ghana, I think I'm being tag teamed by two people from the same country, but that's no worries. I know my Guyanese that's watching right now is going to hold me down in the comments. But without further ado, Bobby, tell the people who we have the pleasure of speaking with today.
My God. Listen, today's a very special edition of the Chop Up. We have my sister from another mister, but she's listen, as sweet as she looks on camera, she's an amazing person. Her name's Mwango. Affectionately, we call her MK. So today we're gonna call her MK just for the purpose of this conversation.
All right.
She's repping Dreamville. She's gonna let you know a little bit about her career trajectory, where she sees herself in the next 10 years, where she is now, and where she was 10 years ago. And it's a very casual convo, again, as Yao so eloquently put. We are from the same country, same region, same town, same language, same veggies. You know, you call it fufu, we call it sadzao and shima. So without further ado, Yao, drum roller in. It's Chop Up presents An Evening with MK.
MK.
Goodness, thank you so much for the gracious intro, Bobby. And thank you both for having me today. I'm glad to be here. I don't do this often, so this is definitely a treat for me.
Indeed.
That's a treat. It's a treat for us. It's a treat for us. So thank you for coming on the Chop Up. I know I've poked, prodded, and begged you to come on for a couple weeks now, because I feel like, especially in these times, Black people need to hear Black voices. One, Black women need to hear Black women voices, especially in industries where they're underrepresented. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you've clawed your way. I won't say to the top, but you're at a place where you can see the top, right? And I think a lot of people need to hear this story, because it's a story that it's not without trials and tribulations. It's a story that, in spite of trials and tribulations, you're able to get to, I guess, our version of the African American dream. You know what I'm saying?
You got Bobby, man. The way you speak, you be making me want to cry, man.
Why you make
everything such a sad, sappy story? It's not without trials and tribulations. You crawl to the top, and the birds come and fly. Yo, come on, man. This MK we talking to right now. She from Dreamville.
I can't know how she got there.
It's called Dreamville, though.
Listen, I'm gonna be real with you, MK. Right? We got you on this podcast. We want to hear about your experiences, but Bobby's lying to you. This is what we really want to talk to you about. We recorded some songs back in our college put on right now, so don't listen to all that questioning stuff, because it is about you, but it's really about us, right?
It's really a demo in my email right now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but you know what? It's not even
live
a demo. We're gonna play for you right now, because we need to know if you can get signed. Cause Dreamville got J. Cole. Who else they got on there? They ain't got WizKid, but we could work We could
You know, I think they got Bass. They got Bass, right?
Boss.
Oh,
Boss.
Boss out there. I'm sorry.
Sudanese American.
Sudanese brother, like, listen, you know, Tariq talks about him all the time. So my bad.
So,
yeah.
wait.
So
His brother's DJ Moma, right? His brother DJ Moma, right?
His brother is Moma, the incredible DJ Moma.
So you see, I know who he is. I just, you know, fumbled on the.
Definitely a pillar of the culture.
All right.
Your family is really amazing.
Do people come to you knowing that you're a part of Dreamville? And I guess the biggest name is what, J. Cole, right? Mm-hmm. Do people come to you and say, hey, listen, man, I got a really cool track. Can you follow me? Can you like get my music in the hands of other people? Like, how do they approach you if they even know you coming out of a building of, you know, that major label company?
Honestly, you guys, I'm at the point in my career where I literally don't tell people what I do for that very reason. With that said, you know, I think especially last year, Dreamville made a lot of noise. We had our Revenge of the Dreamers album that did really amazing. So we were out there. So my inbox, my DMs are full.
Okay.
And
what kind of DMs full? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
listen, I got DMs.
Oh.
But no, people reach out all the time. It just, the traffic is so much. It's hard to, you know, reach out to everyone or listen to everything. We have so much going on. But I'll listen to your demo.
That's good. You ready? You ready, Bobby? We're gonna play the banger, all right?
And listen, this is like 15 years ago.
15 years ago. So listen, man,
17, maybe 20.
Whatever producers you got, man, we need it to be remastered.
You're telling me you're about to play something that sounds like 2005?
Oh, no.
That's the problem right there with these record labels. You're already shutting on my dream. You feel what I'm saying? You're already
No, we were ahead of our time.
Exactly. Like, we were so ahead of our time.
Man, throw the beat on. I'm talking. Let the music talk for us. Let the music.
Yeah, we got the new track from Patron Brothers, y'all.
Ladies, you got 5 seconds to get to the dance floor. Fellas, put your condoms on. On the dance floor.
I got bamboozled, everybody.
Getting on the dance floor. Getting on the dance floor. Fucking on the dance floor. Fucking on the dance floor.
That was fire. Wow.
Listen, man, our prices are not cheap. I'm gonna just say that right there off the back.
That was the most thought-provoking thing I've heard in a long time.
We on.
I'm blown away.
We are on.
Why haven't you been signed?
Oh!
What? Why haven't you been? Come on, guys.
Look at him.
Can I be your manager?
Yeah.
Bobby, that was really you on the vocals?
I don't think that was me.
Well, listen, man, follow us, PatronBrothers.com. We got a lot more old songs.
We got
master with the help of Dreamville. You heard the unofficial sign off by MK right now.
Yeah, we got the clean version, where it's like, we better be freaking, which is still amazing.
Because I need my little cousins to hear that.
We also got a Nickelodeon version. We got a version for kids. You know what I mean? So we got a lot of songs, man.
You Baby Shark in them?
Oh yeah. We better be sharking.
I'm here for it.
So that's
man,
but let's you know what? Enough of like, you know, self-promotion.
Yeah, we talk about that later, man.
Self-promotion.
Tell us a little bit about your journey. Like, where did you start? I know you just didn't end up on Dreamville. Like, tell people, you know, for every young aspiring. Actually, tell us your title there so they know what you do and a little bit of your journey.
So I am currently the head of operations at Dreamville Records. We're a Black-owned subsidiary under Interscope. We have an amazing roster. And so basically I handle all the finance, I'm liaison between our legal team, our record label, and our partners. And I deal with HR and hirings.
So where did you start? prior to Dreamville? Let's go to the beginning. What was your first? You did the Diddy get cheesecake. What did you do? Like, let's go.
No, I mean, yeah, I interned.
Okay.
I was in college and I really wasn't feeling it. I always knew what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to be in music from the time I was like 6, no lie. I was making like fake ass Grammy acceptance speeches at 9 in Zambia in front of my mirror. So I kind of always knew that I wanted to be a part of the music industry. Started interning in 2008, I guess. I was in college looking for internships. I was a whole immigrant, so really didn't have working papers, but kind of finessed my way. And the only gig available at the time was at in the gospel department at Sony, but that was the only way to get my foot in.
Now, who was gospel at Sony at the time? No one really.
Gospel at Sony was, granted, it was amazing. The record, the label was Cold Verity, and they had like Kirk Franklin, Marvin Sapp, Never Would Have Made It, I believe, came out around that time. Yeah, I definitely remember meeting Kirk Franklin, so it was around that time. And I would just like walk around the building, see who needed help, do whatever I could. I always wanted to work for Mark Pitts. He's known for discovering or being Notorious B.I.G.'s manager. And he was actually at the time A&Ring, and still is, Chris Brown and Usher and Sierra. And at that time, all the hot acts at
still today?
Sony. Say that again?
He's still at Sony, and he still does the same thing today?
He's still at Sony. He's the head of urban music, president of urban music.
Nice.
Still works closely with Chris Brown, is responsible for Miguel's career, and is just really a force in urban music. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, right? So you were immigrant when you came into the U.S., right?
Mm-hmm.
How old were you?
I was 10 when my family moved here.
Okay, so you were still relatively young to pick up the American culture and kind of get a hold of, what it was that you liked out of music. So in terms of like, Afrobeats is really big, right?
Huge.
So very huge. It's like, I don't even know how it's ranked. You can tell me more about this, the analytics behind it. But, being 9 years old and coming into this country and still having that strong passion for music, what made you say, you know what, even though I'm a descendant straight from Africa, I want to get into, let's say, the R&B or the hip hop genre of American music and not focus on my cultural music that I've, grew up listening to, even though I was only 9 years old. But what made you say, I'm gonna go listen to this, American music as opposed to African music?
I mean, I grew up on Biggie. I grew up on Mace. We grew up on American music.
And you think you grew up in American music. They was playing that in Zambia, right?
Yes. Harlem World was big.
Disclaimer.
Mariah Carey, Butterfly album was big. I remember listening to Sade and Luther Vandross and Bob Marley. We were just so immersed in Western culture as we are now.
I like the fact you said that, because growing up, a lot of people used to say, like, what music do you listen to? I mean, I was born and raised here in America, right? Mm-hmm. But people think people in Africa don't listen to, like...
No.
First of all, we're trying to keep it honest on the podcast. You only moved there when you was 18. But right. He tells everybody that. He tells everybody he was born and raised. But it is what it is. No, this is not the type of podcast. This is not the forum. I'm not lying. Well, we're building on the truth.
The truth.
Let people know.
Yourself, man.
Are you a whole fraud right now?
A super fraud. I'm like, what?
Don't listen to But what I was going to say was that people think people in Africa are only in tune with whatever's going on in their country, and they're not immersed with Western culture. So it's good to hear somebody in your position right now telling the people, like, hey, listen, I grew up on Biggie. I know everything that's going on, because they wouldn't necessarily know that, not having the experience to go to Africa and see what the country's really about. So, it's really cool that you even mentioned that and kind of brought that into life.
Mm-hmm.
The internship, was that paid or unpaid?
Unpaid. It was literally college credit.
All right, cool. Because some
And
people, people want to get money, but sometimes you have to.
this is before interns had rights. This is before, there were any rules of what you can and cannot have an intern do. So
Mhm.
I did everything, anything you could imagine. I can't even say half of this publicly because obviously we had to sign confidentiality agreements, but like there was a lot of shit that I had to do. And I did willingly because at the end of the day, I knew it would pay off for me. So I interned for 4 years.
4.
And and Mark Pitts ended up signing J. Cole. He had a deal through Sony where he started his entertainment company. And that was my first big gig.
Okay, what did you do initially?
I was day to day. So on the management end, I did everything from their schedules to advancing shows. So when he's on tour in a given city, I would be the person to liaise with the venue and production to like go over the set list, make sure, we have all the equipment, the band has what they need to go to get the performance done, figure out what time load in and load out was. And so basically advance all the shows, do his scheduling. I was the liaison between Rock Nation and the management team. So anything that needed his attention got to my desk before it was presented to him.
So fast forward from there. So then you build a rapport and a relationship with him and a trust.
Right. And then come fast forward 2014, 2015, I believe he split ways with the management company that I worked with, Mark Pitts and Bystorm, and he went to self-manage with Ibrahim Ahmad, who's now president of Dreamville and my amazing boss and friends. And I stayed at Bystorm. I continued to take on or help facilitate the careers of some of our management clients. I dabbled into the A&R side of things, which entailed a lot of like booking studio sessions and just making sure everything was needed for an album before release. And I did some marketing, and I was there up until 2018 I left, and I went to Def Jam.
Okay.
At Def Jam, I was working in A&R administration, which is basically we oversee all the budgets for an album recording. So I had a large part of the Def Jam roster, including Kanye West, Janae Aiko, Young Jeezy. Yeah, so basically all the albums Kanye did with Pusha and Tiana Taylor and Nas, I had a bit of a hand there with those projects at the time.
So a lot of the times, I don't know too much about the music industry, but I know when I see a music video or I see social media, a lot of these artists have, fancy cars, big chains, big houses, and stuff like that, right? And then if they're one-hit wonder, they pop up later on in the years, I don't know, doing a reality TV show or basically just, falling out of the path that we once saw them, right? So in terms of mismanaging their money, where do you play a part into that? Like, are companies not paying out artists what they're due, or is there some type of disconnect where they don't know exactly what to do with their money, or is record labels not telling them, hey, listen, let's have a sit down. We're going to give you a financial literacy class because you're going to be holding this money and you're accountable for X, Y, and Z.
I love that question, by the way. And I think it definitely ties into what's going on now with us as Black people holding companies and corporations accountable for their employees. So we're having these conversations within my industry right now where, no, technically, to answer your question, that's not our responsibility. Artists have managers. They have managers, they have business managers, personal managers, assistants. An artist is supposed to come with an entire team. So it's our job to make sure we can see your dreams come to fruition and make the label a load of money. So we will give you your advance. It's not our job to tell you how to spend it. Will we make sure if you want, you're interested, we can refer you to maybe a lawyer or, people in the industry that can best make sure you're situated, yes, we will do that. But no, it's not our responsibility. But as Black people and Black executives, we're starting to come together and say, you know what, maybe there should be financial literacy involvement and more guidance from the label, or from at least we people of color who know the business, for these young kids who come to us at 18 or 25 from not much and handed millions of dollars and left to go, you know. I think it's really important, and hopefully I see that in my time.
So let's say I'm an artist, I get signed to whatever label you were working at the time. I get my advance, I blow my money, I mismanage the funding that I get from the record label, right? Now, in terms of mismanaging the money, you know, the person didn't do a good job saving. Does the record label get any type of hit when somebody like that doesn't manage their money or re-put it, or I guess reinvest it into their own projects? Like, does the record label lose any type of money? Because a lot of people feel like when an artist comes on, he gets all these, you know, fancy things, and then he loses money. But, you know, the record label's still eating good. So it looks like the record label took advantage, you know what I mean? But when the artists lose money, let's say if they do a show and they get their advance, and you said it's not your responsibility to kind of tell them how to help out their team and do things to kind of prolong their career, in some aspect. But does the record label or the company that's hiring this artist, do they lose any type of funding or any type of like long-term investment with the person that's mismanaging their funds?
All the time. It happens all the time. Let's say if we sign you for $5 million and we give you your advance, we're hoping that you go and create this amazing body of work and we can market the hell out of it and recoup. So we sign 360 deals throughout the industry now, and it's basically we get percentages off of your touring, off of your merchandise, off of whatever you do, because we have helped put you in this place and we market you, and we're the machine where we are able to get a percentage off of that. So that's a 360 deal. There are many times you invest in an artist and they just don't pop off. You know, you give them this money and their career does not come to fruition the way you would hope it does, and then you do take a hit. You know, so yeah, labels lose money all the time, but they also make a lot of money as well.
In this portion of the Chop Up, we have something called the Wrap Up, where we ask you 2 questions. It may not be entirely connected to what you're doing in your line of work, but it's just to get a little bit of insight in terms of how you think in terms of situational questions. So I may have a question, Bobby may have a question. We just want to see what your insight or your answers are, just to kind of know who MK is on a deeper level. So this is the Wrap Up. In regards to the recent happenings in Minneapolis, and you know, you have these quote unquote Karens around the world, right? That's been popping up all over social media. What do you feel is your duty in the position that you're in order to bring more Black awareness to people who may not be entirely connected to Black culture?
I don't think it's solely my duty. I think it's all our duties to educate our, you know, our Hispanic, our Caucasian friends, our immigrant friends. Because even as an immigrant, you know, I feel for myself, I'm caught in the midst of the situation. So I don't know, Bobby, if you can relate, but it's our duty to educate each other, period. And, you know, be open-minded and willing to hear the other side, even though you may not want to, but it just makes the conversation better to have.
Now, I understand it makes it a much easier job if we all work together and educate everybody that's around us, right? Now, we've also been seeing a lot of the protests and a lot of the marches that's been going on a global scale. I mean, I've seen things in France, I've seen things even in Ghana where people are protesting, going to these police stations and voicing out their disapproval of police brutality. So, second question I have for you, how do you feel? Yeah. How do you feel to see that the world is actually joining forces in voicing out their freedom of speech in regards to things that they feel are not right in this current day and time?
I'm proud of it, and I support it. I think it's needed around the world, and it's not just a African American situation. It's a humanitarian problem. You know, I'm so proud. I know I read recently that in Nigeria, the women are speaking out for their rights. And it's just a snowball effect. And I feel like there's something happening in this time that the voiceless are being heard.
It is bringing up a lot of awareness, right? And I think as a nation, we need to have new legislation that's going to represent the changing times, right? There's a lot of things that need to be either abolished or changed, because a lot of those things, for whatever reason, seems to pinpoint on minority communities, and it's just affecting a lot of families at the same time. So in regards to the awareness that's being brought up by this unfortunate situation, what are your thoughts on politicians in DC wearing kente cloth to make a presentation about police brutality and changing the law? Now, we can go deep into it or we can go very subtle into it, but I want to know what is your feelings seeing politicians wear kente cloth, and they also have the kente mask as well. We also have Clico mask available at clico.org if you're interested. But what is your insight seeing politicians?
It's a hot topic in my household, to be honest.
Let me hear it.
It was disingenuous. It was appalling that they're making this political, and a bunch of bull, to be quite frank. I would have rather they took the knee for the 8 minutes and called it a day. Kente cloth, you don't even do that during Kwanzaa. MLK is every year. Never have we ever seen you salute the flag on MLK's behalf.
Yeah.
You know, Juneteenth, never he ever acknowledged. When Barack Obama was elected into office, no one took a knee with kente cloth. Really disrespectful and opportunistic, as was Donald Trump's Bible at the church steps. That's personal view, and people want to be artists, they want to be rappers and singers, and they go at it for years, and they do have that persistence, they do have that passion, they do have the determination, but there's something missing most times, and it could just be the talent. So it's just keeping real people around you. There has to be, as much as I say, don't listen to people around you, listen to your day ones, listen to the people that you know have your best interests at heart.
It was such a beautiful day. I remember when it all began. I walked up to you and asked you for your name.